I have friends that have had concussions, serious things happen to them on the island. And without fail, the doctors and medical staff here are good enough to save their life, get them stabilized enough to get them to Belize City.
Hi.
It's Perry.
It's ridiculous. Listen, it's Perry and Dennis for Belize Island investment, real estate, properties, housing. And today we're going to be talking about healthcare, because in a previous video we discussed living here, you know, long term. And one of the questions that I raised was, okay, I can live here, I can even grow my own food here, I can live off grid if I want to, I can survive here, but what happens if I get ill? So what does happen? I'm an American citizen, Canadian citizen, European citizen. I've moved to Belize, I'm allowed to live here, but now I'm ill. What happens?
Yeah, well, first of all, Perry, Belize has excellent medical care. They always have had. Since I moved here in 2003, and that was one of the big questions I had, because Steph and I are fairly healthy, despite my wife's health issues, which don't require a great deal of medical care, but they do require some. And so there's a couple of things. Number one is ongoing healthcare needs as a person gets older and what might come with that. So for example, cancer, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and then there's the true medical emergencies. Like they fell, they hurt themselves, they had a concussion, you know, a car accident, golf cart accident, it happens. So really we want to look at both of those. Is Belize equipped to, number one, deal with long-term care, and number two, deal with emergencies? So what would you, as an expat, be most concerned about?
I guess it would depend on my age. If I was younger, I'd be much more concerned. I mean, for example, if I had children, for example, I'd be worried about their health. I'd want to make sure they could get the healthcare they needed. If I was in my 30s, 40s, I'd be more worried about accidents than anything else. But like you say, if I'm a retiree, if I'm in my 60s, 70s, 80s, long-term care, you know, the kind of care that I'm going to need on a daily basis.
Sure.
Will I get that here?
Yeah. So first of all, let me talk about the major medical centers in Belize. So that was one of the things that we used to struggle with out here in Ambergris Caye, is if an emergency happened, how quickly could we get you to somewhere that could save your life? And so for example, here in the past, we had very good doctors, very good polyclinics, which could help you in a major medical emergency, patch you up enough to send you over to Belize City, where we have very good private hospitals. So we have two private hospitals there called Belize Medical Associates and Belize Healthcare Partners. So, and they have seen, unfortunately, even the worst of cases. So for example, if you can Google it, out here on the reef, there have been people swimming that have been hit by boats, lost a leg, lost an arm, and even in those cases, they were able to bring them ashore, get them patched up enough to send them to the mainland, and they save their lives. I have friends that have had concussions, serious things happen to them on the island. And without fail, the doctors and medical staff here are good enough to save their life, get them stabilized enough to get them to Belize City. That was in the past. Now, just about 3 or 4 blocks from us, they're actually building a hospital. The first major medical center that will exist here on Ambergris Caye. In addition to that, there's a satellite office of Belize Medical Associates up at Grand Caribe. So whether you're living on the north side, close to Secret Beach, the south side, where we're here at Mahogany Bay, you are in very short proximity to some very, very good medical services. If you're looking on the mainland, anywhere around Belmopan, the Caye's Branch area, and Caye, you have very good hospitals in Belmopan, but again, they are breaking ground right now in a new world-class hospital in the capital of Belize, in Belmopan.
They're starting to build it now?
Yes, it's right on the right on the Western Highway. So if you're a person that is concerned about being close to those things, look in the country and make sure you're close to some of those major hospitals. Now here's the thing I tell people, in the United States, in England, for example, something happens to you at home and you call an ambulance, how long does it take an ambulance to get there?
It can take a long while. It really
can take a long while, exactly. Even if you're in a major city. Some parts of the United States, it could take it at 45 minutes. If you're out in the country, so people say, oh, you know, I'm worried about being on the island, how do I get to Belize City? Well, it's a short flight. It's literally a 15-minute flight. My wife has taken an emergency flight here from San Pedro before. We left here at 7 a.m. on the emergency flight. By 7:21, get this, she was in a hospital bed, with an IV in her arm being looked at by 2 doctors.
Wow.
Within 21 minutes, including the flight.
Okay.
All right. Very, very good medical care here in Belize.
What's that going to cost me?
Good question. So here in Belize, we do have medical insurance that you can get. So Steph and I always had major medical insurance on us. Steph had emergency surgery, had her gallbladder taken out, laparoscopically, hospitalized for 3 or 4 nights. And the entire bill, our portion of it with our insurance was about $500 US. Now in the US, that would have been a $30,000 surgery.
Absolutely.
Now I do recommend that long term, if you're living here, you get medical care or medical health coverage through a company called RF&G. Very simple insurance, medical insurance. Get it for the peace of mind, and you won't have any problems.
How much does that cost a month?
It depends on your age, and it depends on your overall health. So you'd have to get with them on that to see. But it's very, very affordable, especially for most of my North American clients. Compared to what we pay in the States. For example, Perry, if I were to live in the States right now, my health insurance alone would be about $1,000 US a month. Here in Belize, I can expect maybe $150 a month for excellent health care insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a mutual friend, Ray, I might say his surname, but
Sure.
Californian, he said his last medical insurance was costing $2,000 a month.
A month, just for insurance.
A month.
Yeah, it's $24,000 a year. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he said it doesn't cover absolutely everything.
No, it doesn't. No, yeah. No, we have very good medical care. Now, let's talk about long-term care. If you have a heart condition or a kidney condition or something that does require regular medical visits, Belize might not be the place long-term for you. You can come down for a month or 2 at a time, but usually my clients that are that dependent on a US or Canadian doctor, Belize might not be for them, although we are getting better. Give you a couple scenarios. A person comes down here, they live here full time, all of a sudden they get cancer.
Right.
Any kind of cancer. Belize is set up to handle most cancers, but in some cases they will send you to Merida. Merida is a city in Mexico, just about a 5, 6, 7 hour drive from here, that has excellent hospitals.
Okay.
They're covered under the Belize insurance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so for major things that we can plan on, cancer treatment, heart valve replacement, knee replacement, things that we can plan on and schedule, we try to go to those hospitals, either Merida or in Guatemala City.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Guatemala City is probably pretty close, I'd have thought.
Yeah, it's a couple hour flight.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Guatemala is set up for the more intense kind of
Absolutely.
healthcare.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Here in Belize, give an example. One of my friends living in Kikauker, and he got home one day, and his wife said, "You're not acting right." He was acting very strange. Turned up, he had 3 brain aneurysms. Flew him to Belize City. Belize City Hospital, I believe it was Healthcare Partners, saved his life, operated on him, performed brain surgery. All right, brain surgery in Belize, right? Developing countries. You might not think that's a very, a good way to go. Saved his life. Not only saved his life, but 2 months later, he flew to the United States and had a brain scan, and the surgeons there said, "We cannot believe you're alive."
Wow.
No one should have been able to do what those surgeons did.
Okay.
So this is surgeons in Belize City, brain surgery, saved his life, and I can't speak highly enough of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Any other questions about healthcare, sick care? How about healthcare in general? Because what we talk about healthcare, we talk about sick care. What happens when you get sick? I'm not talking about what we can do to keep ourselves healthy. You think there's a difference between living in England, living in the United States, and living in Belize when it comes to overall health?
I think the sad thing is that Brits aren't as health conscious as they should be anyway. And I don't think, it's my opinion, I don't think Brits take care of themselves as well as they should.
Okay, neither do Americans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've noticed here, one thing that I did notice here, pharmacies are really good.
Yes.
I don't know if they are actual, like in England, a pharmacy is where you can get kind of most stuff. But if you speak to the person behind the counter, they might not necessarily know what the right stuff is.
Sure.
You tell them I'm ill, and they, my experience with pharmacies here is you tell them your symptoms. It's almost like a doctor, and they do know what to give you.
Yeah, many times that's true.
Yeah.
Many times that's true. Yeah.
That impressed me.
Yeah.
Is that common for pharmacies across Belize?
It is common, especially when you live here and you get to know them.
Okay.
So if I'm a strange, let's say just a stranger, if I'm a tourist and I pop into a pharmacy, they don't know you. They don't know your medical history. They don't know what you normally take. But if I develop a relationship with my pharmacist, they know what I'm taking or they know I'm overall healthy. I come in with certain sort of symptom. They know that they can safely recommend something. Okay. So yeah, you do have that relationship. Also with the doctors here. Doctor's visit will cost you $25 for a doctor's visit.
Really?
Very cheap. And you get to know your doctors very well because they don't care that they need to spend an hour with you.
Right.
There's no rush. In the United States, I go in there, they want you in and out in 7 minutes because they operate on an hourly schedule. Yeah. So there's that. But also there's overall health and wellness in Belize. Right. For example, a lot of our meats, meat, chicken, fish, shrimp, a lot of our vegetables are non-GMO. They don't use the pesticides that they use in the United States. A lot of our food is unprocessed. So, for example, there's this old adage where, how come when I eat pasta in Italy, I don't feel bad, but I can't eat pasta in the United States? Same type of thing here in Belize. You have access to much more fresher fruits and vegetables and meats, and you just overall feel more healthy. Yeah. And you're more active. Yeah. You know, as you've seen. Yeah. And we don't drive cars here as much in Belize. As on the mainland we might, but here on the island we use golf carts. That means we're riding around on bicycles, we're walking, we're out in the sunshine, we get enough vitamin D, we're out in the air. Right. So I find myself feeling much better here in Belize than anywhere else in the world.
Okay, so on that subject then, someone who's disabled.
Okay.
Okay, that's healthcare on two levels. So firstly, how do they get around?
Right.
And secondly,
right.
Is there that kind of care in Belize? Somebody who's simply lost the use of their legs for some reason.
Right. So in Belize, in my experience, the care here is still good for them, but the accessibility to different things might not be what they're used to in a country like the United States. Okay. As far as having zero entry places for restaurants, for getting into certain buildings, the lack of elevators, more stairs, even getting around the country. The mainland's a little easier because you can have a car outfitted with your wheelchair lifts. Okay. You have a car outfitted with your finger controls. We don't have that so much here on the island. But I tell people, especially if you're in that situation, even sometimes flying here might not be the easiest. Right. Because you have to walk down the stairs. There's no gate here in the international airport. You have to walk down the stairs. Getting up into tropic air. How are you going to get into tropic air? Now, if you're at least mobile, if you're in a wheelchair, fine. But at least if you can get up and are a little bit mobile, then you're fine. But if you are severely limited mobily, you might have to really look at which area of the country is going to work for you.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. How about, like you mentioned medication. A, does Belize have all of the meds that the Americans are used to having? Yeah. And B, what do they cost? Okay,
that's a good question. The answer is no, we don't have all the meds. And at any given time, medications are being put on the market, taken off the market, FDA approved, not FDA approved. So what I would say is if you are on a certain regimen, simply call one of the larger pharmacies in Belize and say, hey, look, can I email my list of meds? Here's what I take. Do you have these? Or if you don't have these, do you have an equivalent or something else that I could take? I'm on this kind of statin for cholesterol, could I take something else? I'm on this type of high blood pressure, could I take something else? And that would be a good conversation too to have with your doctor back home. Bring that list into your doctor. Say, look, I'm going to Belize for 2 months, 6 months, a year. I'm going to live there. Have your doctor tell you which one of these is a good replacement.
And the benefit of doing that here is that Belize is an English-speaking country.
Yeah, right.
So you can have that conversation, both verbally and written, all in English. And maybe an idea, if you want to test it out, why not do that? Come tell your doctor you're going to move down for a month, just a month, even 2 weeks holiday. Tell him, first contact the pharmacy here and see what they recommend in case they don't cover the exact medication you're on. Get that list, then go to your doctor and say, are these replacements good enough? And let's face it, if they are good enough, then they're good enough. Simple as that. So
right.
It wouldn't be a bad acid test. Talk to a pharmacist here, get the list of meds that they recommend instead of the meds that aren't available here, and then go to your doctor.
Yeah. And going back to cost, you know, some of the things that people ask about, they go, well, what is the cost of it? And it's a good question because most people are on a budget. When this is going to be a good topic for another video,
Right.
so many things that are high cost where you live don't exist here.
Right.
So many things are eliminated. On the island, no cars.
Right.
So imagine no car payment,
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
insurance,
Yeah, that's-
no gas,
Yeah.
no maintenance.
Yeah, yeah.
You just saved most Americans over $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So if their medication tends to be at the same or even a bit higher, it's a wash, right? Property taxes here. One of my clients I just talked to today, they pay $8,000 a year in property tax. Here, he pays 70. Same
$70.
same house size. $70 here,
A
8,000. Yes. So you imagine he eliminates that.
Yeah.
All right, you pay a little bit extra for one of your meds, and I don't know if that's true or not. But if you did, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Some
yeah.
things become insignificant. Food cost, another thing.
Right.
All right, as you've seen, some of the food here is more expensive.
Yeah.
Some of it's much cheaper. But overall, in the scheme of things, in fact, we should do a video just on
We
budget.
should do that.
All right, would you guys be interested in that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
Literally a month's living in Belize, what that would cost. We're talking everything.
Yeah.
Fuel, food, entertainment, everything. What would it cost? And when we put that list together, that budget together, compare it to what you spend a month.
There you go. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Good video on medical care. If you guys have any specific questions on medical care, doctors, surgeons, medications, whatever it is, put it in the comments below. Perry and I do some research, get back to you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.